On today's video, we're going to be looking at more wild stories that legacy media will not be sharing with you. And we're going to start things off with one example of just how these corporate channels only tell you half the truth.
This is a Fox News alert. The jury has reached a verdict in the high-profile Sean Diddy Combs trial.
The music mogul has been found not guilty of racketeering conspiracy and 2 counts of sex trafficking.
So I think this has to be seen as a big win for the defense when it comes to the most serious charges. Sean Combs was not found guilty.
In the last 24 hours, the mainstream news outlets have been bombarding people with the details regarding this Diddy verdict, and they're acting as if this decision was shocking.
This is shocking. This was an enormous defeat for prosecutors.
Yeah, I'm as surprised at this as I was at Brian Koberger's plea deal. I just find it shocking that a jury couldn't put this together.
Folks, in the last month or so, I've told you on multiple occasions that this was going to happen. In fact, any person who was keeping up with the trial knew Diddy was going to go free because the prosecutors were handling this in the worst way possible. Even though the president might not pardon Diddy, he can still go free. From everything I've seen so far, the DOJ's star witnesses aren't really working out. For instance, MIA, who used to be Diddy's assistant, is one of the key witnesses who claims her boss did horrible things to her. Well, nearly 2 years after leaving Diddy, she texted him, "Just thinking of you today and every day. I had a nightmare. I was trapped in an elevator with R. Kelly. I screamed and you came to rescue me." She has sent many such text messages to Diddy. I even reported how James Comey's daughter was leading the prosecution, even though she has a history of not releasing damning evidence against people like Jeffrey Epstein. She was part of the prosecution team during Epstein's trial in 2019. She also led the trial against Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, there's a very interesting thing about that particular trial. You see, while she was preparing for the Maxwell trial, she received sealed transcripts of the 2006 case against Epstein, and she didn't release any of them. Only in 2024 were those documents finally released, and they were as horrifying as any of us thought. So you tell me, is it a surprise that he was found not guilty on any of the most serious charges? I almost expected him to just walk out of the courtroom yesterday, and he was pretty damn close. Now, the worst part is that this was probably the most open and shut case, since this man has been accused of heinous things for decades now. In fact, there was so much evidence against him that his lawyer, Anthony Rico, left the case by saying that under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs. And just for reference, Mr. Rico didn't quit when he was defending Bin Laden. So yes, this is a mockery of justice in this country, but this was not shocking, and a lot of people saw it coming. Now, moving on, there's a huge story I want to share with you guys. They're watching you through your Wi-Fi now. Xfinity just rolled out something called Wi-Fi Motion, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It tracks movement inside your home using nothing but your Wi-Fi signals. No cameras, no sensors, just your router blasting invisible waves and reading how they bounce off your body. That's not Wi-Fi anymore. That's a radar. You walk across the room, it knows. You open a door, it knows. You sit still too long, it knows. It's a motion detection through your internet. And the craziest part? It's already built into the router, just waiting to be activated. Most people won't even realize they've installed live surveillance in their own home. Xfinity calls it a feature, but this isn't smart tech. It's a silent wireless tracking system. And once your router can map your movements, you're not just connected, you're monitored constantly. This is how the surveillance state gets in. Not with cameras, but with conveniences. Not with force, but with features. And by the time people figure it out, the cage is already built. Now, the scary thing is that this is only one of the many common household technologies that are keeping an eye on us. I mean, have you heard what Amazon's been up to? They linked your Wi-Fi to your neighbors. You're already part of a surveillance network and you probably didn't even know it. It's called Amazon Sidewalk, and if you've got an Echo, a Ring camera, or any Alexa device, you're already in it. Your home is now a node in a hidden mesh network that links your your Wi-Fi to your neighbors and theirs to yours. Amazon flipped it on by default in 2021. No warning, no opt-in, just active. Your devices are constantly talking, bouncing signals across neighborhoods, building a grid Amazon controls. They say it's for lost pets and smart convenience, but it's really about tracking movement and harvesting behavior, all from inside your home. And then we have all those smartwatches that are supposedly there to keep you fit, but we all know what that Apple Watch is really doing. That Apple Watch on your wrist, it's not a gadget, it's a live health surveillance device. Sure, it can detect AFib, it can warn you before something goes wrong, but while it's protecting you, it's also collecting from you. Apple is quietly building one of the largest real-time health data sets in history. Over 100 million people tracked nonstop. Your heart rate, oxygen, sleep, stress, breathing, it's all being stored, analyzed, and tied to your identity. This isn't just fitness tracking, it's biometric surveillance running 24/7. You didn't just buy a watch, you gave them access to your body's signals forever. That data, it's a gold mine for insurers, pharma companies, AI systems, and governments. And now RFK Jr. just said the quiet part out loud. My vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years. Every single person. Tracked in real time. This isn't about health anymore, it's about control. And you opted in without even realizing it. In addition to all of the spying, this kind of data collection also makes it extremely easy for hackers to get our information. And that is especially concerning at a time when we're seeing so many cyber attacks on pretty much all of our industries.
Check your email. Qantas is alerting millions after a cyber attack hit a third-party platform. The airline says names, contact info, and frequent flyer numbers may have been exposed.
Hawaiian Airlines is the latest victim of a cybersecurity attack. The company announced the issue to customers this morning.
These cyber attacks come at a time when the aviation industry is already reeling from disastrous crashes. Speaking of that, have you heard the latest updates on the Air India crash? According to a new report, the airline and the investigators tried to simulate the flight conditions for the doomed aircraft and soon learned that it likely didn't crash because of some pilot error. In fact, according to the report, so far the most likely cause for this crash appears to be a dual engine failure, which is not only extremely rare, but it will also once again destroy Boeing's reputation. Look, I won't be surprised at all if it turns out that Boeing was somehow responsible for this tragedy. There is just way too much evidence of their shady practices. However, this isn't just about Boeing. We have seen far too many crashes already this year. In fact, only a few days ago, another plane just went down in Ohio.
Emergency crews responded to a Howland Township neighborhood after a Cessna 441 twin-engine plane crashed into the woods behind a home.
Carrying 2 crew members, 4 passengers crashed today approximately 2 miles east of the airport, 7 minutes after takeoff. Broken to report that there are no survivors. First responders have retrieved the bodies from the wreckage, and they are currently in the coroner's office.
Once again, 6 people lost their lives, and at some point, we gotta ask, why are so many of these small planes going down? There has to be a flaw in our safety guidelines that is allowing so many faulty planes to stay airborne. In fact, there was yet another plane crash. This one happened in New Jersey last night, where 13 were injured, 1 person was trapped, multiple people were in critical condition. There were 5 medical helicopters on scene, and 50 gallons of jet fuel spilled, which was a major hazmat risk.
We're on the scene of a small plane crash at the Cross Keys Airport in Monroe Township, and there are reports of injuries.
Now, next up, I want to talk about just how crazy the weather is getting in this country. Well, this is some wild news. Did you know New York City just quietly became subtropical? Not gonna be, not maybe someday, already is, officially. The climate scientists call it humid subtropical. Köppen classification CFA. That's the same label used for places like Atlanta or freaking South Carolina. And here's the kicker. This change happened around 2020, and they never told you. No headlines, no press conference, just a quiet data update in government files. Why? Because if NYC is subtropical now, that means climate models are way off. That means infrastructure is outdated. That means real estate collapses and insurance markets explode once people realize the flood zones just shifted north. They don't want panic. They don't want lawsuits. They don't want accountability. So instead of sounding the alarm, they reclassified the climate in silence and hoped you wouldn't notice. But the heat waves, the random January thaws, the rising sea levels and collapsing roads, that's your new reality. New York didn't just get hotter, it crossed a line and they buried it. Welcome to the new normal, and they're still acting like nothing changed. And this year in particular, we are seeing some pretty wild weather events every other day. I mean, did you see what happened in Las Vegas? Now, according to meteorologists, all that damage was caused by dry microbursts or Virgobombs. And interestingly, a similar Virgobomb created 111 mile-per-hour wind gusts in Texas earlier this year.
So the Midland Automated Surface Observation System, that reported a peak wind gust of 97 knots, or 111 miles an hour.
And yes, that is the fastest gust we have ever seen since we started reporting weather 94 years ago. But these extreme weather phenomena aren't just limited to the US. I've already shown you how multiple cyclones are drowning Chinese megacities. Well, now Italy seems to be in the crosshairs as the country is experiencing extreme flooding. Italy was also hit last year when those hurricanes were battering the US, so I wonder what this latest flooding means for Americans. Now, I'd like to end this video by sharing a pretty insane situation in California.
Explosion at a fireworks facility rocked the area in and around the town of Esparto this afternoon.
Your screen. This is catching right now. So we just want to remind you, you're watching the KCRA3 News at 7.
There we go. The crazy thing is that this warehouse is operated by a company called Devastating Pyrotechnics, and it's situated in Yolo County. You just can't make that up. Once again, an incident like this is tragic, but it's not surprising in a state like California, where multiple battery plants have gone up in flames in only a year. We're going to end the crazy news right there. I really want to know what you guys think about this Diddy verdict. Also, why do you think every company is suddenly making gadgets to track us? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope to catch you on the next one.